My name is Ryan Boyd. I was born and raised in Florida, and since I was old enough to walk, I have been chasing and catching animals in the Florida swamp. My love for animals led me to start a nuisance wildlife removal company 13 years ago. Every day is exciting. I have a love for animals and have always had a deep connection with wildlife. On certain properties, we are even allowed to bow hunt. As an avid bow hunter, I was living the dream. Then, mid-2015, I began experiencing a range of unordinary symptoms, such as anxiety, depression, muscle and joint pain, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, and extreme fatigue. The fatigue got so bad that I was spending an average of 1 to 2 days a week in bed. I saw 8 different doctors, had blood test after blood test, and was continually told that nothing was wrong with me. I went through months of debilitating symptoms that were only getting worse. I got to a point where there seemed to be no light at the end of the tunnel. I started thinking, there's no way I can live like this. What if I never get better? Thankfully, I was surrounded by strong people and the most encouraging wife in the world. Through that encouragement, I made a decision not to give up, no matter what, and to have faith. I used to think faith was a feeling, and I was fearful because sometimes I didn't have that feeling. But I learned that faith is not a feeling, but a decision to be certain. And even though my thoughts and actions lacked reason, I realized that faith doesn't need reason. Faith is trusting fully in what you cannot see or understand. Due to the nature of my business and my outdoor lifestyle, I spend a large amount of time in a specific area of the Florida woods that is extremely tick infested. There have been multiple times that I've been covered in over 1,000 ticks. After thinking about it, I suggested that my doctor test me for Lyme disease. Sure enough, the test came back positive. It's been a slow healing process, but during this time, I had a choice: to be miserable or to be joyful and content where I was while God was in the process of changing me. I made a decision not to let it beat me. Life can knock you down, and that's okay, but it's not okay to stay down. The truth is that we are all fighting something, but through your pain can come your purpose. During the worst of this disease, it was hard to imagine that I would ever get well enough to fulfill my lifetime dream of chasing red stags up and down mountains in New Zealand. But here we are. I've been wanting to do this since I was a small kid, dreaming about this, and it's just surreal being here, knowing we're fixing to go chase some rolling stags. So here's the deal. We got here, we got set up, we started shooting the bow. The bow was off. I was thinking the sight was off, so we adjusted everything accordingly, got dialed in, and then I had an issue with my rest was not dropping. So I went to fire an arrow, and the arrow just exploded. It shattered. Fletching went that way, the nock went that way, the arrow went that way, and I was in a panic. I mean, we've come halfway across the world, the other side of the world, to come hunt red stag, and my main tool was not working. So luckily, there's a lady here that's hunting that is a bow technician, archery technician for Field and Stream. And she looked at it and told me exactly what it was. This little string had not enough tension in it, so we kind of rigged it up with some dental floss, and she's shooting like a dream now. So ready to go shoot a big stag. Let's do it.
That's where we want them to go, where there's a bit more cover. He's a nice animal. How far? 43? Meh. How far? 41.
Gosh, another half a second, he'd been dead. This spotting and stalking stuff is not for the faint of heart. All right, it's the third day of our New Zealand hunt. We're on the South Island of New Zealand. We had some bad weather rolling in last night, and it's just kind of stuck with us, hovered over us all day. This morning we tried to hunt, and the wind was coming in sideways, rain was coming in sideways, and made it impossible to film and definitely impossible to hunt. But we're going to try to put a stalk in. The rain's kind of working in our favor because it makes it a little bit easier to stalk, so I think we can pull it off. 40 yards. I just had to drop what I was doing, get behind this bush. He's coming this way. Was that close enough? I just had a monster red stag at about 3 yards sitting on the ground. But I wasn't comfortable with that frontal shot. I probably should have taken it, but I'd rather not take a shot and regret it a little bit than take a bad shot and really regret it. That was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me in New Zealand. We're running out of options, and we're running out of daylight. We're running out of days. We've hunted as hard as we possibly can, but tomorrow's another day. All right, we've got a big monster double drop time red stag bedded down over here on the side of this mountain. He's in a really good spot. The wind's in our favor. He's facing the other direction. The sun's behind our back. So it looks like a really good situation. We're gonna try to put a stalk on him. This is about the 50th attempt on a red stag. It's really hard bow hunting, but I've got a good feeling about today. So let's get it done.
It's gonna happen.
Alright, this stag is right over the hill. Probably about 80 yards from us right now. We're gonna go ahead and drop our packs. Go to stealth mode. And try to crawl in on this big stag. Looks like he's still bedded.
He's still bearded. I can just see the top of his antlers. He's 36 yards. We all stand up together. Good shot. Good shot. Just keep calm.
Back, but he was angled hard.
Yeah, it's good angled. He doesn't really know what's happened.
He's stumbling.
He is stumbling.
I'm trying not to get choked up, but I've been dreaming my whole life to shoot a big red stag in New Zealand. I got diagnosed with Lyme disease about 3 years ago, and about 2 years ago, there was days where I couldn't get out of bed several days a week. Could barely walk, definitely couldn't run up a mountain. But I just buried an arrow in a double drop tine red stag. Thank you, Lord. It's very hard hunting, but the reward when I put my hands on this animal is going to be beyond words. I believe that there are some weaknesses and struggles that God leaves on purpose so that we have to depend on Him. Even life's problems are gifts if we learn from them. It is critical to have people around you that will encourage and support you during tough times, whether it's a physical sickness, a family tragedy, or even a challenging bow hunt. And anyone that has bow hunted for more than a day has faced challenges. These challenges determine who we are. The idea of enduring suffering is the opposite of what our culture tells us. It's all about being comfortable. But you don't grow in your comfort, you grow in your pain. A river cuts through a rock not because of its power, but its persistence. The decision is yours. It's about making the most of the best and the least of the worst. It's not how you start, but how you finish that matters.